And with me via telephone, all the way from somewhere, I'm assuming in Muncie, is superstar Stinger, Rosh Yeshiva. He's an inspiration to the nation, as they say. The one and only Beri Weber. Beri, how you doing?
Hey, everyone. Hello, Yossi. How are you?
Baruch Hashem.
How's it going?
You had a busy week. We're here to talk about the album, obviously, the new album, Beri Weber, Korban. But Beri, you were in my hometown Sunday. You're mamish in my shul across the street from my house. Tell me what this amazing Achnosa Sefer Torah was like Sunday.
Yeah, so this week I was in Montreal, and I must say that the Montrealians are super warm people, and it was really felt this Sunday when I had the opportunity to sing at Achnosa Sefer Torah. That they did Little Ishmael's Steinmetz boy that passed away.
Sacha Dov Berish
Ben of Shloima Steinmetz Zechrein Levrocha, who was a Korban Lashem, in the stampede that happened last year, unfortunately, like Boimer. And this was definitely a light of warmth. The whole city. I would say town. But, people act over there friendly like a town. The whole city, everybody came out. Men, women, children, Bacharim, and Hunat came out, to take part of this amazing Chumras Sefer Torah and this amazing simcha that the Steinmetz family had. And Shlomo expressed himself to me that this Chumras Sefer Torah was the wedding that his son didn't get a chance to have, but he said that he knows that his son would wanna have me as a singer, so that's why he had me as a singer over there.
It happens to be true. I knew the boy. I know Shlomo since he's married, because he married one of my neighbors. You can't find a nicer man, a nicer family, full of midas and type. And they were big Beri fans. Anytime I came to visit Beri, the first thing they asked, "When's Beri putting out an album?" Now, considering your last album, Aguda Echos, One Heart, came out in 2016, fans have been waiting quite a while, Beri.
Yeah, it took a long time, and I'm going to blame it. I'm not blaming anyone. Everything is siyata d'shmaya, the atzlach of everything, and the wait for everything, and the holdback from everything. But, if I want to put it into a physical ashgacha process, I with my yeshiva, and literally, in order for me, to be able to focus, to be inspired, to come up with stuff, to be creative, you need a little, on your shoulder, and I didn't have that past years. The last year, I toned down a little bit with my yeshiva. I toned down. I just made like a little chabir, a little group. For other reasons, I did it in order for me to have more of in-depth connection with the boys, because that's exactly what they need, and that's what I'm good at. So that allowed me a little to, to start to finalize and finish up and stuff. And literally, the last half year, I had Hershey Weinberger help me a lot. The last year to half a year is when I really started, this needs to go out. But technically, song selections, and some arrangements I started like literally 4 or 5 years ago.
So there are some songs that have been around as long as the last album finished, you're saying?
Exactly. Like there's one song in particular that's I literally got that. I don't know exactly, but I literally got that like a couple of years ago.
Which song was it?
This song is from Meyer Adler, the musician from Etzisruel. We call him Vetter Meyer.
Yeah.
Vetter Meyer composed the song a long time ago, and I sent the arrangements to Laufer, Moshe Laufer, and this was done a long, long time ago. And it happens to be that this song somehow exploded the first. The most feedback that I got
really?
From singers covering it. Yeah, in Israel. Especially in Israel, but even in America too. I have hundreds of videos of people doing it, by weddings and singing it in kumsitz and so on. That's that song.
And this is Man Di Yohev, track 4.
Man Di Yohev Chai, yes.
Wow. Beri Weber with us via telephone, finally discussing the release of his longly awaited album, 6 years in the making, Korban. Beri, you have a lot of interesting songs here. I got to tell you, the first time I listened to the album, I connected with Korban, but for me, the big song that I had to listen to like another 50 times was track 5, Abyssal.
Track 5.
Abyssal.
Yeah, that's that's a little out of the box from what people expect coming from me. But I'll tell you what, I always try to be a little diverse. Again, in my box, in my bubble.
Mm-hmm.
If you look back on all of my albums, even my album Thank You Hashem, I had like a reggae song, and I had a Guy Tzachvashin, which is a big band type. I always try to have something, little different.
Mm-hmm.
That's because me myself, when I connect to music, it's about the diversity of what music brings you, the different moods and the different feels, and the art of it. So I always like to be a little different. But again, I know who I am and know who my clientele is, so I can't go extremely crazy.
Right.
But at the same point, I wanted to give I wanted to give my clientele a little bit abyssal from everything. So I always say I'm giving 2 songs for every type of environment.
Style,
some
genre.
Heartsick, some is a little Hasidish, some is a little modern,
right.
Little out there, freilich, sad, dramatic, and so on. So Abyssal was definitely something that is more of I would call it not a Hasidic genre.
No, definitely not. It's very interesting because it starts very soft, then it gets really fast, and then you have these amazing falsettos that we've never really heard from you at all.
It gets more intense, and it's interesting that I'm getting the most feedback that I'm getting back is from the Hasidic, from the Hasidic area. That's where I'm getting these are the people who like it most. But this song itself is definitely unique. The tune and music and the vocals, the singing of it.
Mm-hmm. So tell me, Beri, this is like your 4th, 5th album. I guess depends if we count all the a cappella albums that you put out between then. You had
right. So
Be'ezer Hashem Yisbarach, you had Ben Melech.
Be'ezer Hashem Yisbarach, Thank You Hashem.
Thank You Hashem.
Ben Melech.
And then you had the One Heart Aguda Achos, but in between that, you also had the 2 a cappella albums, and you had the Breslov album. I'm calling it a Breslov album, right?
I had the Sodomin and Nagina, and I had a Shabbos Farbrang and 2 regular Farbrang. So this is like the 9th album, but if you want to count it as a collection of new songs, it's the 5th.
Right. And a Shabbos Farbrang vocal.
There's a Shabbos. Every Farbrang that I have has the vocal right. and the music one.
So leading up to my question, how did this album differentiate for you, in creation? Because you've been down this road, you've done it from the early 2000s till now, or 2022. Was the process different for you? Was it harder, easier? You trying to be more creative?
Well, personally, this is more, satisfactory if you get to express yourself,
mm-hmm.
Through, something that's new and fresh, something that goes back to your identity. The music that I choose, and that I build, and that I create is music that is definitely something that rubs off, on the journeys that I go through in life. Everybody has their journeys, whether it's getting married, raising kids, parnasa, interacting with people, or being in Rosh Hashiva. All the music, it definitely has a connection, and meaning behind it.
Mm-hmm.
According to what inspires you and through what how you see the world, which lens you see it. So for me personally, this is like my baby, that has my DNA in it,
100%.
And it's very special. But again, I'm also influenced by the generation, by the people that I'm surrounded with.
Mm-hmm.
And it also has, some of the songs are songs that you would typically find at what today's boys would like to hear at weddings and so on. And so it has both. It has the things that I get affected and things that I have an effect. And that's the beauty of it, that you get to inspire, and especially if you get feedback from it, really inspires them, and it gives them chizik, and it gives them hope, and it gives them so on. That's something beautiful. Although, when it comes to these collection albums for the Fabrings, that's designed that people should be able to get more into it, more. This is more of a performance, or kind of like entertaining in general, but versus the music that people already know and people already connected, and I choose those songs that are popular and that inspired everyone. That can even go further in a certain sense, that they are already connected. It doesn't have my identity, but the fact that I was the vehicle who led them to that place is also something that I get feedback. But it's always in the satisfaction of something that you created yourself, something that was it's your identity that goes further for me. I mean,
now speaking about your identity, you're coming out more on the writing side now too with this album. You've dabbled in the past, but I think we have more composed by, lyrics by, idea by. So let's say the opening track, Ritzoin Barani. I mean,
right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where how was it stepping into this new role of being a more proactive, instead of just sitting and buying songs from emails, now sitting there and actually working on material for the album yourself?
So in a certain sense, Masha Hoya Hishiya, I mean to say that I always composed, and I always had a creative side, but I never really explored it. I never pushed myself to demand from myself to, it's kind of like you're not aware of what you're carrying. So like in my first album, I also had 2 of my own compositions. In my second album, I already had 4 of my compositions. In the third album, I had 5 or 6. So I always compose like Lechina Ranano is my song, Ahaim is my song.
But those songs, I would, if I'm allowed to say, I would say were probably more simplistic in their melody. Now they're a lot more complicated.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's not. Like Ahaim is not a simple song that people would,
You do have a point.
Lechina is a simple song.
Yeah, I'm saying you have a point. Ahaim is a complicated song, but Lechina Ranano is a very simple song.
There's a song that I gave to Lipa, Michacham Yishmael.
Yeah.
Also not very simplistic.
You're right. Okay, I take it back, Beri. I take it back.
Yeah. All right. Permission granted. Technically, there's a lot of songs that I compose and work on. Not everything is that I feel is worthy enough, for me to invest in it and put it out to the world, or that it should shape my name and my and how people identify Beri Weber as. But the ones that I put out is the ones that I feel people will connect to mostly. So but in this album in particular, as I said, because I was working on it for such a long time, and I constantly had to get refresh myself and get back down, sit down and work on it. So maybe that's why you can see more of my, it was literally like every song that I don't know if I wrote everything, but every song is, even though when I go with with a composer, let's say if I sit with Yossi Waldner
or Heshi Weinberg, or Mati Erlowitz,
Heshi Weinberg. My previous album, there's a song. Banecha Chati La'asid Lavai. It's a whole long song.
Yeah.
And I sat with Yitzi, and piece by piece, and it was shaped to shape. Not always, but this is the perks. When you work with the album, even though you get a song from a composer, he writes it according to the frequency of the the singer. And the singer, especially if there's a singer who is has the capability of adding on something and to give in the feel. That's how it is.
So Monday night you went on Instagram and you were saying how Korban, the title track of the album, was actually dedicated to a friend of mine and yours who was nifter last year during the tragedy in Meron, Shragi Gestetner, which is in the booklet. But, the funny thing is the first time I heard this song, it was before I got the booklet. And the way I understood this song was like, any hardship you go through in life, things aren't going your way or Hashem throws you a little stumbling block in your life, that's a korban. That's the way I understood it originally. But, then when I see the dedication, I hear what you're saying, so is it meant to be understood one way or another, or is everybody can take away whatever they want?
It's all of it. It's all of it, because technically, if you think about it, the fact that Shragi gave his neshama back, nobody would say that he deserved it. This was a message to Klal Yisrael. Mm-hmm. And what am I and you taking, or anybody else taking from that? The least that we can do is to connect a little bit, in a physical sense, the feeling of what the family is going through and what the kids is going through. But even in a spiritual sense of what a korban means, what is this message? What is this tragic occurrence? What does it say to us? Who says that we are safe, and why is it fair that one person is taking a big chunk for everybody? So it's really not about that. It's really about the internal message that every little, nobody wants to get a big patch to realize that, this is not your space. When somebody's entering somebody's space, you can get punished. The early warning, the early sign is where we should, get our messages and so on. And we constantly get early messages. Mm-hmm. And everything is from the Beri Weber. Everything is from the creator of the world. And everything is signals that we really need to put some thought to it. What is it about? So we're anyways going through all of these hardships in order for us to grow, to achieve, to get to our destiny. Mm-hmm. So this song just, the message of this song brings out that we're aware of that, and we're telling to Hashem, to the Creator, to the Sibat Sibot, to whoever is generating all of these trials and tribulations, that okay, I'll do it. I'm doing it for you. This is my destiny. This is where I'm getting to. So it has a very global message, very universal message, very personal message, and a very it's everything. It's everything. So in this sense, this Shragi is something big, a very tighter thing, mm-hmm. that brings out very strongly in a dark way this message. But we don't have to wait until it gets dark. We can, a korban can also mean a korban toida, a korban of thanks. Right. I raised my kids. I put in so much effort, to give and to give them love and to direct them to the good places. And now I'm marrying off my kid. This is a korban toida l'Hashem. My korbanem, I did it for you. Accept that, and that's what we need. That's that recognition.
No, 100%. Beri Weber with us via telephone. We're discussing the release of his brand new album, Korban, available for digital download, available in stores with a special packaging from Malchut and available as a USB. Beri, is that big version available anywhere, or that was just for you, that one big version with that like talus-sized decal over there?
So actually, it started off with, he made it as a joke. He surprised me. Mm-hmm. He gave me that big one. That big talus, but then people reached out to me personally that I wanted, so I didn't do it like officially, but I did order. I ordered a few more, mm-hmm. for people who wanted that, just as a credit, the people who reached out and asked me for it.
People are a fan. They want to have some kind of memorabilia from Beri. Yeah, why not? It's something cute.
Exactly. So I had on my site, I just built a brand new website, a state-of-the-art website. I don't think anybody, this is something chiddush, new, whatever. If anybody wants to go and check it out, they'll see.
BeriWeber.com. BeriWeber.com.
Right. And one of the options over there is to buy Beri Weber memorabilia. So, whether it's a mask, whether it's a mug, whether it's certain, items, bumper stickers that I promoted in the past. So someone over there sent them a message. By now, there's a few people. Why that big talus is not on the
On the website.
So it's too expensive to stock up on it. But I told them, if you want it, no problem. I can get them that as well.
So yeah, Beri's website is very intricate. Each page has its own video of moving pieces. It's a very interactive website. Right. Nobody has something like this yet. Not only that, I believe Beri's website even has a page where you guys can submit songs to Beri for future projects, right?
Yes.
And that's something not everybody has. If you have their email or WhatsApp, then you're lucky enough that you can send them a song. But otherwise, there's no way to go about it. But to have an official thing on your website where it can reach Beri or at least Beri's team, that's you're opening yourself up.
You can buy sheet music. You can buy tracks. Some camps. I got like many camps that they wanted to have the tracks of the music without the vocals, so they can do their theme songs or whatever it is.
The karaoke version.
Everything is. Karaoke version, everything is available on the website.
I was very happy. By the way, I was very happy to see that you put Geba Shmeichel on the album. I loved this song when it came out. Concept, of course, by Shimi Adar. There's just something about it. It's a great message, and you sounded really good when it came out. The song I was wondering about if you were going to put the Hadron song on the album, because let's be honest, 6 years there were some other songs that came. You had Uman is Gashain.
Yeah.
There were other singles that came out.
There were many singles that came out. There was the Karastira song, Karastira Chan. There was the Papa Uta cover, which people really like.
And you did Haishanu with Ari Hill.
Haishanu with Ari Hill. There was Live Nishba that came out.
Yeah.
There was Vatoisef Est, Keili Lama Zaftani. There was many songs that came out in between the last, between this album and that album. But first of all, I couldn't include everything, but I had to pick one, and I felt that this is like something. First of all, for the diversity of the color of the album, this is something that I felt like really is gonna give it another angle. And from the other hand, it's just a pure song. It's a pure message, simple. It's a happy, it's something that really is something that we all need. Shmeichel. Be the reason someone smiles.
And it has Yiddish, English, and Hebrew. So, you have three languages there. It's a universal and understood song.
Right.
B'chol Ice, Beri. B'chol Ice. By the way, you and Heshi, you got to know each other obviously through Naftali Schnitzler throughout the years. When I see Heshi's name on a lot of these songs, was this like one or two writing sessions, or we're looking at like over a year of getting together?
Yeah, this was definitely a longer period that we sat night after night. You have to understand, sometimes you can sit for 4 or 5 hours and nothing happens, because it has to. It just has to happen. So it's not that we meet tonight and that's just so you understand. Before every album, this is my 5th album. So before every album, I went to Seagate to sit down with Yossi Green and always tried to get a song from him, but somehow it never clicked. Although we got every album, there was another 2 songs that we finalized. Once we finished, sitting down.
Correct.
But it didn't click. Both of us, we didn't feel it. I didn't feel it's the right or the appropriate song.
Mm-hmm.
Yossi always says that a song is like having a baby. It really has to develop into something healthy. Into something that is cool. So same thing here. In order for it really, to shine and to be perfect, it was a lot of meetings and sittings and creative tries that we did, in order to make it happen. And Baruch Hashem, we got here.
And it's not your typical Yossi Green song either. It's a Hebrew song also.
Right. So that is a chiddush by itself, but also the tune, right? Really, like, it brings back, that that nostalgic feeling from my perspective, that the Yossi of Amol, to me.
Right.
And I really felt it, and I felt really special that he gave me that present. But going back to Hershey,
Mm-hmm.
Hershey is a young, energetic guy, and the frequencies, it can always, it has to click. People that have to understand that. I'm not talking somebody who is pressured into put out a song because there's a certain agenda and so on, but we're talking about a regular album. If you want to inspire people, if you want to, if you want to be inspired yourself, really has to be meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
It just can't be just okay. Tonight we're doing a song. That's not how it works.
Right.
So Hershey was really, giving me his time and his heart, and you can see it on on the songs that he delivered. Every song technically Hershey was not only involved in the song that he composed, but even other songs. Like I have this amazing song from Yossi Zweig,
Right.
and Mati Ilovich, wrote this initially the song and the lyrics, but there was always this tweaking and twerking that we needed to shape the song into what it has become. And Hershey was there,
I got to tell you, you made me very happy with that arrangement. That you went to Hershey Ginsburg. I used to love Hershey's arrangements.
Yeah,
He is.
Hershey.
He's an amazing.
Unfortunately, fortunately, he's amazing. Unfortunately, he's a very busy guy.
Yeah.
But when you get to him and he comes through, it's wow, 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 wow.
No, it's a very deep song. Now, by the way, speaking of this song, if I can interrupt you a second, Oid Yosef Chai, and you have Parsha, and you have, there's more than a few songs of Yiddish or, not English. Even songs like Abyssal, is there an idea to put maybe English lyrics or English translation even for Korban in the booklet for people that, love it but don't understand it, or for them to better connect to it?
Well, listen, I'll tell you what. If I could have, lined up everybody who was going to listen to my album and get to meet them and get to hear what they have, to say, and then, I would be able to, to please everybody, but it's not possible. So, and we're talking about hundreds of thousands of people who are listening to Jewish music.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's not even Yidden. Sometimes you find people in South Africa and South America, and we're not. And I just saw the other day, my album came out. Gashi Schwartz, he's taking care of my online music, so he sent me the day after it came out. He sent me a screenshot of the screen,
Mm-hmm.
where you see that in Iraq there was five people who listened already to my album. Two people in Baghdad.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure exactly, if these were even people who were Jewish. But the point is that people who are attracted to my music are not necessarily attracted to it because I'm giving them 100%, what they are looking for. They enjoy this vibe, it doesn't have to be that they always understand what I'm saying. When you're listening to a song.
Agreed.
Right. So you can't always satisfy everybody. You can't do according to what everybody needs. So I always try to throw in a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit. And people ask me, why are you always, putting out these songs of Hebrew?
Mm-hmm.
So to me, Hebrew is not my first language. My first language is Yiddish.
Right.
If I'll do something that's universal, and I have to pick between English, which is not the Yiddish Sprache and so on, I'd rather pick Hebrew because it connects somehow to more people. I mean, according to people that I would like to inspire.
Mm-hmm.
But I do throw in English here and there. But that's not that's not who I am. It's not my language, and there are other singers who do that. That's where they shine.
Right. I mean, it wasn't more about singing English. It was just more if you had an idea that you wanted to maybe include translation in the booklet, just so it would be a little bit more understood. But obviously, the booklet, the booklet.
So
is
I
as
do
big
that.
as
I
it
do
is.
that.
Yeah.
Right. So I do that on Instagram because I figured people who are English speaking are people who who would I just see it from from a perspective from the what's his name, the guy that distributes music tells me that the most CDs are being sold by people who don't have any access to any internet, and these are like in the Williamsburg area and so on.
Mm-hmm.
These are people who read the booklets, and other people they technically online. That's where they stream their music, and so that's why I kind of like gear the booklet more or less towards that. But what I do is people who follow me on Instagram, I am doing now a series where I'm going through every day another song, and I am explaining everything in detail. Exactly what you just asked. So I'm going through. If you would follow me on Instagram, you would see. I just started like this week.
Mm-hmm.
And I started off with a song that came out like Beri Weber, the song the Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was a stepping stone to the Korban idea of because that was Lili Nishmas Dovi Steinmetz.
Right.
And yesterday I spoke about Korban. Today I'll speak about Chag Sameach and so on. So people who really want to, who want to understand every song, the detail, what inspired what, and what the meaning of it is, should go, follow my stories, and they'll see that.
All right. Follow Beri Weber on Instagram. I got to tell you, Chag Sameach for me is a funny song because, like, Chag Sameach is like what modern Orthodox say to each other on Yontif. Chassidish guys get Yontif, get Yur, get Kvittel. You know what I'm saying? So seeing Beri saying Chag Sameach, I'm like, what in the world is going on?
Yeah. So definitely, Chag Sameach. That's also something that's like an icebreaker, or something, by us. Chag Sameach. If you would ask any Hasidic kid, what does Chag Sameach mean? If he knows Hebrew,
mm-hmm.
he would tell you, so it means a good Yontif. So, like Shavuos and Hanukkah or Pesach, he would say Chag Sameach. But the truth is, Chag Sameach is really the interpretation of a happy celebration. Chag Sameach, you can say Chag Sameach by a wedding. Chag Sameach. It's happy. You can say it by anniversary. You can say it by a birthday party. You can say it by upshare, and you can say it anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point of Chag Sameach. And this song really speaks about that. It's not that ideal, but the lyrics of the song is that we gathered here, we're drinking wine, we're celebrating. The vibes are good, and let's celebrate. Let's just sing Chag Sameach. So Chag Sameach, yes, definitely not something that that would attract a typical Hasidic Yid, but since my audience is a little broader than that, so I express myself in that song, and it has like a deep house, trance, whatever. I'm not sure exactly, which
the
genre,
style. Right. No,
right, but it has has a strictly like a club feel, with these bass and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's it's a happy celebration song in Hebrew. And I just, this is something that is unique, and I love it. So I figured maybe people will like it as well.
I enjoyed listening to it. Track 8. Well, Beri Weber with us via telephone discussing the release of his latest album, Korban. Track 8. I mean, you and Lipa Beri, you go way back. I mean, when I met you in my office, when I had the JE magazine, you came to the office, we schmoozed. I mean, when you were growing up, correct me if I'm wrong, but you wanted to be like Lipa Schmelzer back then. That's what I remember from your early days. Right.
Lipa is a character, and definitely is inspiration. Lipa happens to be 5 years older than me, so by the time I was an older teenager, I was already listening to his albums.
Mm-hmm.
And me starting my career is someone that, he really looked out for me and was always helping me. In every album I have a song of his.
No, but I'm saying, I remember him always helping, you guys like you was amazing back in the day. You, or even I think when Yisrael Werdiger came out with Bias Neman, Lipa was singing at the weddings. He wanted to help all the new emerging Hasidic artists make it as much as he could.
Lipa is a good-hearted person by nature, and he always he always says the more competition there is, the more of the demand there is out there. So from both angles, he was like very invested to get people, to for that there should be a industry of artists out there and creativity. So that gives him a bigger audience and a bigger
Right. But the
workplace,
reality is,
to be able to express
you
himself.
guys formed a very close bond over the years.
Yeah, we're friends. We're close friends. I've been there with him when he opened the shul, but he's when he was pouring his Evan, what's it called, Evan Apina,
Yeah.
and of all of his kids bar mitzvahs, of all of his kids simchas, and I was we're friends, we're good friends.
So why this song? I'm sure you guys sat down and went through like 15 songs.
So honestly, Leap at the time was very very busy, I must say. He just got into his new look or new whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
He really got busy, and he literally took some time. I remember was like mid-corona. I had my yeshiva was up and running throughout corona because like a lot of the boys, like they weren't going to get along in their houses where they originally come.
Mm-hmm.
So I was open. I was begging Lipa to come over. He came over. We sat. First, we tried to create some creative songs. Songs about like art. Like he was very into that. But then this song popped out. It was very very simple, and to me, like it just gave me that. Like that vibe of I could see like a bunch of people sitting around a table and like very free spirited, like just like expressing their connection to Hashem throughout all these words like Kai Lalakai, Ovi, Adoidi, Rai, Ahuvi. It's not the typical. It's not something that I figured is going to be very commercial, so on. But just to me, it gave me like a very warm feeling, and it was simplistic. So I figured I need this.
No, I think you were smart. I think it was a great choice. I'm curious to hear what else came up, but yeah. 2 or 3 more questions, then I'll let you go. Question 1, Gershi Schwartz. You guys have been connected for like the last 3 or 4 years. What is it about Gershi? How did you get to Gershi? What is Gershi actually responsible with when it comes to Beri?
Right. So Gershi's a unique individual. I mean, he's also a very, very, very musical and talented kid. He's a yacht cowboy, basically, in every aspect when it comes to be techie or when it comes to be, whatever it is, he always figures out stuff. And he's a good guy to have around, to have as a friend. He's a very emotional, warm person. He's a very nice person. And being that, he was a fan and we spoke, we had a chavrusa, we learned. And I really felt that we can grow from each other. So we bonded like, we had like this bond of a friendship. In the beginning, he came over to yeshiva. He took me, he showed me, he had a little studio. He showed me some of the stuff that he did. He worked at the time he worked with Meilich Cohen.
Right.
And I figured that, let me explore this area, let me, and we started, I think the first project that I did with him was the LPR project, which came out like 3 songs for Purim, Batois of Esther,
It was released as music videos.
Right. So actually, this was a live job, but he tweaked it and twerked it, and I was really happy with with the studio work that he did. So I figured, what, I said I always had this idea of doing a meaning a Tikna Klali project. I went through already the 4th stage of development of it. First, I went to someone, Tal Halevi, sweet guy. And I had this idea of doing like different cultures, like every song should be like a different culture, like the Russian type of music, Chinese type of traditional Chinese type of music, Middle Eastern type of music, Hungarian type of music. European type of music, and and some cool jazz, and blues. I wanted to do different types. I started working with him. It took me very long. Didn't work out. I went to Square, tried to do an EDM track and the whole thing. I even worked with a ghostwriter, somebody, a DJ, someone
Mm-hmm.
who was gonna. Nothing worked out. They say good things come hard, but then I sat down and I figured I'm gonna give it a try with him. He connected me right away with Nachman Dreyer.
Freilich band, right?
Geshe, yeah,
Formerly
Geshe,
Freilich band, yeah.
right? Geshe had this, connection with him, and we started recording it, and it just everything went smoothly, and he finalized this project. It was amazing, and I was really happy with the results. So, thereon, the word got out there that Geshe is the guy to go to. And he was local, was convenient. He's a good guy. He's a nice guy. He has a great environment in the studio. And just like what's Donnie Gross in the city,
Right.
he's in Muncie,
But he upgraded his studio now in the last year and a half, so it's bigger,
And
it's
then
nicer.
then he moved.
Yeah.
Exactly, he moved. He upgraded this. So basically, this album was technically created in his studio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yep. And Gershi. Oh, so Gershi's also he's my I don't know the name, but anything that has to do with tech, social media, whatever I have now on my website is technically what he did without a website.
Technical advisor.
Technical advisor, yeah, when it has to do with any stuff that people need digitally and so on, contracts, you hook up with like lawyers from, everything, he took care of that. So, yeah, he's a real help and a good friend.
And by the way, the branding and everything for the album has been gorgeous. I see here it says it was done by a company Love Branding, but even the videos that you're doing now, I see you used a couple of brothers from Seagate called the Schwartz brothers. I mean, your whole team is just top notch. What I've been seeing.
Yeah, so I wasn't gonna hold back when it comes to I wasn't gonna hold back to perfect it. When I finalized, I have this amazing branding company, our Love Papery that I adapted from my album Aguda Achas.
Mm-hmm.
And Eli Lax and Hershey Jacobowitz hooked me up with. And all of my artwork is something that it has like a certain theme. And here also I incorporated also what's his name, Mayor Unger, who finalized everything so beautifully. The album, and he hooked me up with the guys that did the promo videos, the Schwartz brothers, and it was really Siyata Dishmaya, where everything came together with Heshi Weinberger, Geshe Schwartz, Mayor Unger, Love Papery, and whoever was involved was Siyata Dishmaya. Everything came about, and I'm really happy with the results, and people are raving with feedback, with amazing feedback. Baruch Hashem.
I gotta tell you, everybody by me, all the Chassidim in the show, and all the the guys, Heimische guys like me that daven there, they're all raving about the album. Beri, are there any plans for music videos in the future?
Yes, so part of my putting out the album was invest time and effort and money to be able to promote the album afterwards, and one of that so part of it is the music videos. So I already shot 3 videos.
Oh wow! All right, you were in Israel a few weeks ago. You shot there, right?
Right. So the Parsha video came out. Next is Chag Sameach, which is eventually is going to come out in Metz Hashem right after Tisha B'Av.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, there's Yossi Zweig. I did an amazing, gorgeous video for Yossi Zweig.
So you're mamish not picking your typical songs.
Right. No, because I'll tell you what, music videos go way. There's 2 types of videos. There's the video who you're just trying to promote a certain, let's say you want to create a hit, so you put out, you're hoping that this is going to push it even more.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's the video is just bringing out your message even stronger. You have a message because, Yossi Zweig to me is literally, what I'm about. It's helping the underdog. It's realizing that, that the struggles are meant to help you grow. Struggles in your life are meant, for your benefit eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that you need to do is to realize that, and to be strong and to push yourself and to believe, in the nekudas tovos, in the goodness that's within you. And a song, goes far, but a music video goes even deeper and further. So that's the purpose of doing a video for that. Then, there's a song which gets so popular, and you just feel like you want to ride on that. You want to make it nitzchi, you want to make it memorable forever. So you put on a music video. So that could wait. If there's going to be a specific song here that is going to get crazy, then I have time in a year from now to to work on
I agree
that.
with you. There are a lot of songs that are like, we call them hidden gems. Some of the bigger songs kind of overtake them, and you're like, but people didn't get a chance to hear this. Let me do something with this and bring it to the forefront. And it's funny,
Right.
Beri, I was talking to like Uri Davidi like a year ago, and he was in London. Someone's like, I love your new song. And he's like, what new song? And he's like, oh, I put out a music video 6 months ago. The guy didn't know that it came out on an album. He only know the video because, the album wasn't attainable to him, or he didn't have social media. So all he saw was that single. So a lot of
Right.
times you make a video for a song and they don't even know the song was off an album. They're like, wow, I love the new video. But, oh, it's on an album? I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Beri, thank you very much. I want to wish you Hatzlucha Rabba. We're enjoying the album. And we're going to play you out. Give me a second. I picked one song this week. So playing you out with Zed Doidi. Can you leave us with any thoughts on Zed Doidi or anything that happened while recording?
Zadoidi is the typical song that is going to prove to you that if you listen to a song just once, you're not going to get it. Zadoidi, you have to listen again and again, you have to feel it. Zadoidi is a feeling song. It brings out the connection that, the ways of how we can connect Hashem, whether it's your friend, everybody has their moods.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he's a friend, sometimes he's a father, sometimes it's everything. It's all of that. Mona Rosenblum did the arrangements. Very traditional, but very full and rich. And, have a cup of tea or even a l'chaim, sit down when you're happy and sing it. You'll find that this really fits your mood.
Beri, thank you so much. Have an amazing summer. Hatzlucha Rabba.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye.